Did you know what just happened at the Jubilee of Youth in Rome? Pope Leo surprised everyone with a greeting that no one expected. It wasn't planned. It wasn't written down in the official schedule. It came straight from his heart, and it left thousands of young people in silence, some in tears, and others clapping with joy. This Jubilee of Youth was already special. Over 500,000 young people had gathered from around the world. They came with flags, songs, guitars, and open hearts. They came to see each other, to share their faith, and most importantly, to meet Pope Leo XIV, the spiritual leader who has become a symbol of hope for many. But no one saw this moment coming. As the crowd waited in the large field outside Rome, where the big event was taking place, everyone expected a short appearance from the Pope, maybe a wave from the popemobile, maybe a short blessing from the stage. But instead, something unforgettable happened. Suddenly, from behind the crowd, the popemobile drove right into the center of the young people. There were no fences blocking the way. No barriers, no distance between the Pope and the people. Pope Leo stood up inside the vehicle, smiling, laughing, reaching out his hand to the young people as they screamed with joy. Some cried, some dropped to their knees. Some simply reached out, trying to touch his hand, even for a second. And then the popemobile stopped. What happened next was even more shocking. The Pope stepped out, not onto a red carpet or a big stage. He stepped directly onto the grass, into the field, into the middle of the youth. He didn't speak through a microphone. He didn't give a speech from a piece of paper. Instead, he walked up to a small group of teenagers from Peru, sat down on the grass with them, and smiled. "Mind if I sit here?" he asked in Italian. A translator quickly helped the group understand what was happening. One girl put her hands to her face in shock. Another boy started crying. For a few minutes, Pope Leo sat with them in silence, just smiling, just being present. Then he began to speak, slowly, softly, simply. He told them they were the hope of the world. He told them their dreams mattered, that their pain was not invisible, that their joy was a gift to the Church. And he said something that no one expected from a pope. "You are not the future," he said. "You are the present. And without you, the Church has no voice today." Those words echoed through the crowd. The message quickly spread. Young people nearby started crying, praying, hugging. Volunteers recorded it on their phones. The video went viral in just a few hours. But for those who were there, it was more than a viral moment. It was sacred. It was a meeting between heaven and earth. Pope Leo didn't stop there. He stood up and began walking through the crowd. Not fast, not with bodyguards pushing people. Away, he walked slowly, shaking hands, blessing crosses, kissing babies, hugging teenagers. Some fell to their knees asking for prayers. Others just stood there, unable to move, overwhelmed by the power of the moment. And then came the words that truly shocked everyone. Pope Leo looked at the crowd and said, "You don't need to be perfect to change the world. You just need to begin." It was a message young people had been waiting for, not a command, not a list of rules, but a message of courage, of mercy, of trust. It was as if the Pope was saying, "You don't have to have it all figured out. Just take the first step, and God will walk with you." For many, this moment changed everything. One girl from Kenya said, "I came here thinking I was too broken to be close to God, but today when the Pope looked into my eyes, I felt seen. I felt loved," a boy from France said. "I had lost my faith. I only came here because my friend made me. But now I feel something I can't explain. I feel like I belong again." And this is what makes Pope Leo so special to many young people. He doesn't stand far away on a throne. He walks among the people. He listens. He understands. He doesn't just talk about rules. He talks about love, about action, about being human. After about 30 minutes with the youth, Pope Leo finally walked to the stage. The organizers were nervous. This wasn't the plan. But the crowd was electric. The Pope waved to them and then picked up the microphone. "I came today not to give a speech," he said. "I came to walk with you." He looked out at the sea of young faces and smiled. You are my joy. You are my strength. And you are the ones who will carry the light into tomorrow." He then asked everyone to hold hands. Across the field, hundreds of thousands of hands reached out, held each other, creating a human chain of unity and peace. Then Pope Leo led a simple prayer. "God of love, bless these hands. Let them bring peace. Let them create beauty. Let them lift the fallen. Let them hold the lonely. And let them never stop reaching for you." As he finished, the crowd stayed. Silent, a holy silence. No noise, no clapping, just the wind and the sound of hearts beating together. The Pope then gave one final surprise. "I will return at the end of the Jubilee, not to talk, but to listen." With that, he stepped down, waved one more time, and got back into the popemobile. The vehicle slowly drove away, and the young people sat in silence, many wiping away tears. It was a moment they would never forget. A moment that didn't need big lights, loud music, or famous speakers, just presence. Just love, just the Pope walking among them like a shepherd among his sheep. Since that day, social media has been filled with images of that visit. But more than that, thousands of youth have started posting their own reflections. Some started prayer groups, some wrote songs, some went to confession for the first time in years. Others signed up to help in missions or volunteered with refugees and the poor. Why? Because of one man's decision to step off the stage and into the crowd. Pope Leo's message that day wasn't written in a book. It was written in hearts. And now young people everywhere are beginning to ask a new question, not, "What should I do with my life?" but "How can I begin?" This Jubilee of Youth, which was supposed to be just another church gathering, has become something more. A spark, a call to action, a turning point for a generation. And it all started with a surprise greeting. Pope Leo's actions remind us that sometimes the most powerful messages are not given in grand speeches, but in quiet moments of love, presence, and simplicity. He reminded us that leadership is not about being above others, but being with them. Not about being heard, but about listening. And maybe, just maybe, this is how real change begins. Not with power, not with money, not with shouting, but with one man stepping off his platform, sitting in the grass, and saying, "You matter." Pope Leo XIV is not like any pope we've seen in recent times. He doesn't only speak from a balcony. He walks among people. He sits with children. He listens. And most of all, he believes deeply in the power of young people. His recent message to the youth was not soft, not unclear. It was strong, urgent, and full of trust. It was a wake-up call to a generation and maybe a wake-up call to the entire world. At the Jubilee of Youth in Rome, the world expected celebration, music, smiles, unity, and it was all there. But then Pope Leo gave a message that made everyone stop and think. A message not about comfort, but about mission. Not about dreams, but about duty. He looked out at the sea of young people, raised his hand, and said, "The world is waiting for you, and it can't wait any longer." The words were simple, but the meaning behind them? Deep, real, urgent. Pope Leo started by saying this: "There's a storm in the world right now. A storm of loneliness, a storm of hate, a storm of fear. But inside you, there is something stronger than the storm. It is hope." This wasn't just a nice line to make people feel good. It was a truth, a challenge. The Pope went on to say that many people in power talk about saving the planet, about ending war, about fixing the economy, but they often forget something: the heart. The world doesn't only need laws, he said, it needs love. And you, the young, know how to love. It was a beautiful moment, but it was also serious. Pope Leo spoke of the dangers facing the world: war, pollution, technology without values, a culture of noise, and people forgetting how to listen. But then he pointed to the youth and said, "You are not the problem, you are the answer." Imagine hearing that as a teenager from the Pope himself. It wasn't a lecture. It wasn't a warning, it was a mission. He told them, you don't have to wait to be older to make a difference. You don't need money or fame, you only need courage. Then came his 3 challenges. 3 simple steps that every young person could follow. Be present, be brave, be love. He explained each one with examples from real life. To be present means not to hide behind phones or screens all the time. It means looking into people's eyes, listening, noticing. The world is full of people who feel invisible, the Pope said. Be the one who sees them. To be brave means to stand up for truth, even when it's hard. To speak when others are silent. To say no when the world says yes to things that destroy hearts. Bravery is not being loud, Pope Leo said. It's being faithful. And to be love is the hardest but most important. Love the one who hurt you, he said. Love the stranger. Love the one who looks different. That's how the world changes, not through anger, but through love. The crowd listened quietly. Many cried, some clapped. But everyone knew this was not just another church speech. It was a calling. Pope Leo then told a story. A story of a young boy from Colombia who had nothing. No home, no parents, but he used to visit a church every evening just to sit in silence. One day, a